Hello, everyone, and welcome to part 4 of my amazing chats with the wonderful Sally, who is a mental health first aider. She's qualified, she's an instructor. She's been given us so many amazing tips. We've done quality of relationships, social media, identifying loneliness, and now we are coming on to the important topic of re-engaging and how to tackle loneliness. Lots of us have been working from home for the last 2 years. We've got anxiety and feeling worried about coming back into that office environment. A lot of us have not been, meeting as many clients, and, we're going back into that norm. So, Sally, over to you. How do we start to feel better in ourselves and getting more confident about re-engaging?
Yeah, so this can be quite tricky for some people. Exactly as you say, we have experienced the social isolation with lockdowns, not being able to see people, and people have felt lonely as a result of that. We've started to move out of that, and so we might not be as socially isolated as we were. Some of us may be, some of us might not be, but those feelings of loneliness can still be very, very real. So it's starting to look different for different people. I would say, first of all, one size doesn't fit all. We are all so different. Loneliness, again, it's deeply personal. So it might take some people more time to build courage to take action on tackling the loneliness. And everyone will be on a different path. I think if we're able to re-establish the old connections, that's going to be a really good starting point. So if we know that we've had good, meaningful relationships with people before, but maybe that's looked different over the last couple of years, how do we start re-establishing that? How have we communicated with people in our past? How has that changed? How can we start communicating with people in similar formats or new ways? So, that could be face-to-face, it could be online, it could be through social media. It really does depend.
Done correctly from what we learned in the previous session, Yeah,
absolutely. So that reconnection can be really important, particularly with those relationships that we've had in the past that they were good. And we've had those trusting relationships. Those are people we can confide in, and so on and so forth. That can make such a difference. And again, how purposeful we are with connecting to people each day. And I know that we discussed that on session 3. So in the morning, how do I connect with people? At lunchtime, how do I connect with people through the day? Closing the day as well. What opportunities do we have to make new connections? So that might be professionally, but indeed it might be personally as well. So you have lots of different organisations with different work streams, diversity and inclusion. So how can we build our networks? What opportunities do we have in our workplaces to do that? But personally, it might be that we're, looking for new hobbies, new interests, new classes. And it might not be jumping straight into a face-to-face, Pilates session. It might be finding something online. So you're still connecting with people, but it feels much safer. If we start kind of joining big groups of things and we're starting to feel those anxiety levels, that might feel overwhelming. So we might avoid those things. So I think it's about dipping your toe in, trying and testing different things.
Small steps.
Small steps, small, slow, steady. We don't need to throw ourselves straight in. I think that's going to be really important, because if we get those feelings of anxiety and that feels overwhelming, then we're more likely to avoid those activities. And we don't want to avoid. We do want to face into it, but what feels safe for us? How can we get used to that? And then how do we build on that as well?
Exactly. That's a really good point. You take your time, you go at your own comfortable pace. If you have been, working from home and you're suddenly back in this big working environment as life is getting back to normal, don't start yourselves with like 10 viewings a day. Just do 1 or 2. Get yourself used to interacting and re-engaging again. And then as you feel more comfortable, to avoid that level of anxiety, build on it, but only build on it at your speed that you're comfortable with. Yeah. So with this link into loneliness, then we want to encourage people to get back re-engaging. How would you say, as a manager or team leader, how to tackle that within your team? How can a manager look after the well-being of the team by helping them get back into re-engaging?
Yeah, and this is a really tricky one, because again, lots of people are different, and I think if we're engaging in those meaningful conversations, that's going to be super helpful. We can encourage people to talk about how they feel. Again, that can be really difficult. So as a team leader, as a manager, how can we encourage people to talk about what it is that they need? Because managers, team leaders aren't psychic. They don't know what people need without these really important conversations. If you are struggling with somebody who's not really open to sharing, is there a fear there? What's driving that? And I think what we can do is share our own vulnerabilities. That can be really powerful. So I don't know about you, but recently I've been feeling a little bit lonely, just because I've been working so many hours and I felt disconnected from my family because I've been getting in so late. Let's not make stories up, but how do we share our vulnerabilities? Or, I have been feeling particularly tired the last few nights because I really haven't slept well. So I'm definitely feeling stressed more than I would ordinarily. How are you finding things at the moment?
Yeah.
So how can we share our own vulnerabilities, our own worries, our own concerns, to encourage other people to talk, and then ask how are you? And again, it's all about that listening piece, putting the puzzle together. How can we come to understand, what does support look like for you outside of work? Who do you feel like you can go to for support inside of work? What does that look like? Are those support mechanisms in place? Do people have, those 2 or 3 confiding relationships where they can share their feelings? And if they don't, how can we support them? Are there charities that we can be signposting people to? Are there
come get an Agents Together mentor?
Exactly, get an agent.
There we go. I had to mention it.
Yeah, perfect. So how can we encourage people to talk about how they feel? If that's not with us, is that a colleague? Is that someone at Agents Together? Is it a charity, a helpline? There's so many different charities out there. Peer support, a Befriend, Age UK, if it's an elderly person we're supporting or helping. Online communities like Side by Side, could be getting in touch with Local Mind. But again, it's going to be investing in the conversations, really showing understanding, non-judgment. How can we share our own vulnerabilities to encourage that as well? And everyone is different, so we might need to adapt our approach. We might need to be flexible with our approach, and understanding all the way through. That's
brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Sally, for all the great tips that you have given us. We hope our supporters and audience have found this really helpful. Any questions at all, you can reach out to myself at Agents Together, or if you're struggling with any of this, talk to Sally. I'm sure she's always available for you to talk to. She's an absolute fountain of knowledge. She did my mental health first aid training. She was amazing. So feel super confident in talking to her. And on behalf of Agents Together, Sally, thank you for taking the time to speak to me.
Oh, I'm right back at you. Thank you so very much for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Talk soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.